Hi, y'all. It's Jamie with Color Flutter Creations, and I am feeling extremely creative. I'm in a very creative mood after doing all of those shimmer backgrounds the other day. And if you haven't watched that video, I'll be sure to link to it so you can go back and watch how we created all these wonderful shimmer backgrounds with the Nuvo Shimmer Powders to use these, and that's what this video is about, is using all of these backgrounds. I am not giving too much thought. I think y'all have figured this out. I say that quite a bit. I'm not overthinking it. I like crafting to be fun and as relaxing as possible. So I'm just taking dyes that I haven't either used for a while, or I just love to use, like this pink fresh scallop cover plate, and it really makes the shimmer powder paper that we created pop even more. So yes, you could use these as is, which I'll show you how I do that, but I'm also using them in ways where we can add them into junk journals or, scrapbook pages, any kind of mixed media project. So don't be so limited with how you want to use them. Think outside of the box. So one way is using this strip die from Simon Says Stamp, and I have a strip project. I love to just take pieces, add it in there, and I can throw them into some backgrounds and make really kind of cool projects or enhanced elements, including using a edge die like this to have a really kind of cool floral butterfly piece. Don't forget sentiments. We can cut out sentiments with this shimmer paper too. It makes a really kind of cool watercolory effect for your letters, and especially when you're using something like this scrapbook.com sentiment set, which is birthday related. When you put these letters that are die cut with this paper out on a dark, like I'm going to show you, a black shadow background, they just pop and it's gorgeous. And here's what I'm talking about. Here's where you can see me putting the letters onto the black shadow piece, and it really does make the letters pop. Now, there is a little eye dot that comes with it, of course, and cuts out, but I like to use gems, pearls, pops of color, Nuvo drops, crystalline drops, whatever you have, but it adds a little bit of additional, dimension, tapping that out to round out the dot. Also, do not throw away. Did y'all catch that? I moved from left-handed to right-handed. I live in a right-handed world and I'm a left-handed girl. So there we go. But anyway, I am die cutting butterflies out of this, and you could also use this in as a fun mixed media kind of piece. If you die cut a cover, take a cover plate, take a cover plate, put it over here. It could be bubbles, hexagons, whatever, and you would have a really kind of cool backing piece for a mixed media project. So think about that as well. Otherwise, I'm just die cutting all these butterflies, and I love butterflies. Oh, clearly y'all know that. Here you can see one of those butterflies looks beautiful on the shimmer color paper. So I have all of these elements, my sentiments that I can match however I want, and we can now get ready to make some cards.
All right, so I have those card panels that we did the um, shimmer powders, that's what they're called, on, and we are going to put just a couple together that I'm going to show you kind of what I do and how I approach this, and then I'm also going to do some off camera, but show you at the end exactly like what I've done or how they've turned out. So you can see that with this one, I really wanted to kind of bring in some color. There's a slight bit of variation of green in here, very, very subtle, but it's there. So I wanted to play off that with this fun wreath. And then I have die cut just out of some craft cardstock, another wreath that I want to kind of lay around it. And then we're going to use some other pieces to kind of like put in there. And then we're going to lay on this black, I don't know, what is it? A lantern. That's what it is. This black kind of lantern. So we're going to use that. I've got a sentiment that says just for you, a good one that's, pretty simple. And then we're not using the crayons. I don't know why I had those over here, but that's what we're kind of going to do with this one. And so let's start putting our card panel together. We're just going to do the card panels, and then what I'm going to do is bring everything once it's finished out and you'll be able to see it once it's actually on a card base and how I kind of finish it out that way. But I did the paste, as you can see here, and hopefully you can see all the bits of crackle in there. So what I did was I just took a stencil that was a leaf wreath kind of stencil, did half of it in crackle paste after I had just done some inking directly onto my cardstock with the shimmer powder. So let me see how I want to kind of approach this. Because I don't want to cover up a lot of the green. I'm wanting to kind of highlight and bring in some of the deeper brown tones without this being overwhelming. So I kind of want to go outside, I think, of the green. Or maybe I want to come on the inside. If I come on the inside, the only thing is that I may have to cut off. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to create as much space over on the right. So we're going to come in and we're going to do it this way. I do have some greenery here from my stash. Y'all know I like to have just bits and bobs of leaves and flowers and whatever, because this is exactly why. When I approach something like this, I look at it and go, well, I can tuck in leaves and other elements. I don't want to cover up all this, but I want this to be in the background, which is why I put it there, knowing I was going to layer on top. So to me, what that does is it adds that nice little pop and texture and that little crackle you can see, but it's not the star of the show. So we want it in the background. And then, okay, so what I want to do is I want to get this glued down, and I am going to cut this off. So what I've decided is I really don't want it too florally. And as you can see, like this side is pretty kind of leafy and this side has more kind of flowers and florals. So I'm going to stick with this side. And when I cut it off, you see that I'm left with those leaves, which will then just be able to kind of play off of that. But I really don't want a bunch of floral. This isn't really the aesthetic I'm going for. Where was I? Oh, here it was. So I kind of want to come in and we can adjust. Like this is a very big die that I have. So I want to be able to come in and kind of adjust however I need it. But I'm trying to just make sure I know where to begin doing all of my little gluing bits. Now, I don't glue everything down because I'm going to tuck. So because I'm going to tuck some things here, I don't want to glue everything down. I just kind of want to glue a few little pieces just so it is a little secure, but gives me enough wiggle room that I can go underneath it. Now, another thing I do with all of these while I'm, kind of here doing this piece, and I know I need to kind of come to this leaf over here. So I'm just sporadically adding glue. But another thing while I'm doing this that I do with these shimmer powder backgrounds is I very often will do clusters. So I can have them already, I don't have to think about it, and I can actually have something for a quick card. So I'm going to come in here. And then I can just play with how I want this to actually lay, which I really actually like that. It's this piece I need to do a little more, maybe glue. We'll see. I may not have, but that's part of just the dotting aspect, is to get it onto the card, and then I can have the places that I want to tack where I'm not going to take over too much of that. So I may need to do some snipping here. So I am going to let me get my smaller. And then we can kind of play with how we're going to tuck some of these. So I'm just going to snip off a few. I like to tear things apart because why not? If I take it apart, I can then use them now separately. It doesn't have to stay together. So I want to start with that. And then you can see how I'm going to kind of tuck some of these in. And I just go in on the edges, or the stem, I should say. And I'm going to kind of work that way first. And then I can kind of determine before I glue, is that where I want that? So I'm only working on the kind of stem pieces. And this is really just to add a little more, I guess, dimension to some things. Oops, I can't get it. So when I'm looking at this, I just kind of, I'm not very strategic. I think y'all know this about me by now, but I'm not very strategic. I just kind of go wherever all of this takes me. Whatever I feel looks good. And I have some here that are not glittery because all the other ones are glittery and or have some kind of shine. Even the last one I used very much had some kind of like foiling bits to it. I don't know if you can see it. It's a great little added aesthetic with that little bit of foil, but I don't want it to be too overpowering. In fact, I'm going to actually save these for the end and kind of work on putting a couple of these in there. Let me actually see. I really like that. I may put the other one kind of up over here, and I can just come in. I may need to get another one like that. Let me go ahead and actually trim this a little bit. What I'm going to do is take that off. And yes, those are left-handed scissors, which are great. But I just cut with them right-handed as well. So I am left-handed, but because I grew up in a right-handed world, it's just the way life is. And we find that sometimes we do things both ways, right? In the left-handed space. And there are some scissors that I find really, really great. The Spellbinders scissors, oh, I really, really like those. Now I'm going to actually come in the opposite direction because leaves don't all go in the same way, or bits, I guess I should say. So why not have one kind of coming there? And I love those. So back to what I was kind of saying was I really do like the um, scissors by Spellbinders. The only thing I will say about them that is they do cut left-handed. That is wonderful. I absolutely love that. But any left-hander knows just because a scissor cuts left-handed does not mean the blade is proper. Is that right? Proper. Doesn't mean the blade, oops, doesn't mean the blade is on the proper side. That's more, I guess, like it. It's not on the proper side for, there we go, that's what I want, for actually cutting. So here's what I mean. These are right-handed scissors. So when I go to cut something, and let's use our actual piece, put that over there so I don't mess it up. I can line this directly up and it's really aligned and that cuts right against that edge. And that is beautiful. You can get close. I'm not the best with scissors, but if as a left-handed person, I want to do that. Well, now you can see the problem when I turn my card around, my edge is still over here. That edge that's actually going to cut is over there. So it's not really the easiest and it's not going to cut clean. So while they do cut left-handed, and that is great when I need a quick little snip, it is not the same as an actual left-handed scissor, which, so as you can see, I am constantly switching between my left and right-handed scissors, cutting left and right. It's just, you know, like I said, it's just the world that I grew up in. Maybe that's why I'm not really great at cutting because I never could actually, I don't know, find scissors to cut well. But that helps us at least see a lot of what we are doing. I hope you can kind of get the approach here. And then I can come through and these end little bits, I can add a little bit of glue too. And then I will save this because I can always use this on another card. And anyway, like I can use this. So I'm going to keep that. I'm not going to throw it away. We still have bits of our greenery that I want to add in. And you can see I'm tucking along this edge. So I'm not messing up with what the crackle paste, and that is behind it. Yes, it overlaps in some areas, but trust me, you can really still see that. And I think it gives it a really nice kind of effect. So, and we will go back and determine what we need to actually glue down or not, like which added pieces. I don't typically tack a lot down. Like I know I'll tack that down probably there, but I want to keep that up. And adding the variety of greens really enhances the green that we've already got going on. Yeah, I'm really liking the way that this looks. This is my little tray of fun stuff that I just kind of keep here, really close by, so I could come in and die cut, or come in and grab. So a lot of these just are die cut pieces from scraps that I already had. And I love to do this because it is a great way to just add a little bit extra. Okay. And now we have our fun wreath where you can still kind of see all the brown. We've got leaves. You can still see all of that in there. And I think that's just layered goodness. Okay. Now we can do our sentiment. So with this sentiment, it is to, I don't know, brown, and I want it up there. So I want my Dealy Boo here to kind of come from underneath. So that's where we're going to hang that. And then I want this to be, maybe I want that towards the bottom actually. Either way, we'll get to the sentiment. But first, I know that I want this to be here, and I think that's going to like just kind of pop and look really good. But I am wanting to hide it. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue at the tip, and then I'm going to come in here and tuck it a little bit to the position that I actually want it, which is not quite there. And I could have popped this up, done additional dimension with adding more layers, but I did not want to do that because I wanted the leaves to really be what brought the majority of the dimension. So it's kind of where I'm at. Now I do glue things down in kind of, I don't know, an interesting way maybe, because I don't like to glue everything down. I like to keep some kind of dimensional movement is how I like to think about it. So where things are a little free floating, right? So this is down, but it's not, it's still free floating. This is still free floating. So it gives some extra little shadows, and I like that. Now, for the sentiment, this is what I was picking, and clearly craft on craft is not gonna work. Did I even pick the right shadow for this? Of course you did not, Jamie. Let's get the right one. Okay, it actually is right. It's just I was looking at it wrong. So it does. It lays on there like this. And I kind of think maybe, yeah, I'm going to bring it to the bottom and kind of pop that. Now, for this though, I'm like, do I want to go black then with the craft on top? Or do I want to do the craft, the craft is black, this piece, this background piece is black, and then I have this. So maybe that's what I want to do. I kind of want to just make this all black. I'm going to take my obsidian pigment ink for this. And I don't need this to be like black, black, black. I just want it black enough that it provides us some good contrast. And we'll see how we like it. If we don't like it, I've got more and I can just kind of go back to the drawing board. Okay, let's give that a good dry. It actually covered it really nicely, but it still does have like a little bit of that brown. Oopsie, got a little bit. It'll be fine. but we're okay with that because of how the shimmer powder is on this card. I think that this is going to be really, really good. I think we're good there. Yes, I got black ink all over me. Okay, so just some dots of glue. This is a pretty thin, little sentiment, but we do want it to stick. Sentiments are probably one thing that I don't do a lot of leaving space when I glue it down. Like the leaves, the tips, I'll keep it where it's not completely glued down. The sentiments, I want it on there. I don't want it to accidentally come off. I don't want there to be any issues. I don't want it to snag. I mean, the sentiment is just, it needs to be placed. Okay. And then there we have our sentiment. And then I'm going to take this and we are going to stick it, yep, right down there. I really like that. But I'm going to use some from adhesive actually on this one. And let's go with our dots. Our dots that are a gazillion years old that we are perfectly fine that they still work. This one I just pulled up like 3 times though. So let's still use it, but put some glue on it. Hey, waste not. I'm really hoping I'm getting that where I want it. There we go. Sometimes because these are older, I will go in and put some glue on the back when I go to take the backing off, the release paper off. And that's because I want to make sure that it really is going to stick. When you're dealing with old product, not that this isn't good, it's still going to give me good dimension and all of the things that I want, right? So, I mean, it's still a great product, but what I don't want is for it not to stick and it to pop off my card. So, oh no. And I'm not the best at taking off release paper. Look, see, I took off the whole thing. I can't get underneath the thing. That's my problem. The release paper. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Right. We know. See, Jamie, we know what you're talking about. We can read your mind. Can you read my mind? Free your mind, and the rest will follow. Be colorblind. Don't be so shallow. Yes, taking it back to the old school. Okay. Anyway, we don't need to hear me in my sleepy state singing. And this is going to go right in there. And this needs to go. I need to clean the tip off this. I really do like this, but man, do I get glue. Like, I don't know if it's because it's not hitting right or I keep it squeeze flow too much. I have no idea. Okay, let's see if Jamie can get this on here pretty straight. And there we go. There is our first card panel, and I really like this. It's simple. It's pretty, got some pretty good dimension in here, right, with everything. I mean, see what I mean? I just love that little extra shadowy goodness. What a pretty card front. And for just a basic just for you card. So let's do one more together. I've got one more for us to do. And then I'll put all the rest together myself, and then I'll show you how they all turn out. I think that it's you're really gonna appreciate seeing how the shimmer powder backgrounds can be used. And remember, any of your scraps, save them, use them. Nothing goes to waste. This is how I get a lot of my die cut flowers and leaves. Is I make beautiful backgrounds. I may use a portion of it, and then the rest I will die cut leaves and stuff out of. So I'm going to put this aside, and then let's bring this out and this. So here are some elements that I am going to use. I've got my sentiment and this. So this paper doll here, we're going to start with this little paper doll. And then we are going to do some actual just distress crayon on here, which is really simple to color. I wanted to bring out some of the green in this background into her dress. And I like that she kind of has this like little vine floral element. So I'm going to just do some little kind of scribblies. And this distress crayon is Wicked Elixir. And then this one is Twisted Citron. So I'm going to come in here and just kind of move that around. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of wiping it, swiping it, whatever, to give a nice little green kind of hueish to it. Hopefully you can kind of see how that is looking. I'm going to come in with a little bit of Twisted Citron on this. I wanted to see how it was going to work. And then I'm going to come in with my paper towel and kind of add some more. And then I'm just bringing it down. This is just a dry paper towel. And I know some people do water. Well, they'll add water. I've seen that. I think you can do whatever you want to do. So I'm just making sure that I'm kind of not going near her hands or their hands. I don't want to gender this person. This probably for the time it was, you know, only two genders. So I don't want to, I want to get it around her collar, but I don't want to get it on her face. So I'm just making sure that I'm being a little extra gentle over in this area. It's still getting some good highlight. And I really like that. I like the variation that I've got here. It's a little darker here and then lighter towards the bottom. We don't, hopefully you can kind of see around her collar and kind of in there. And then she's going to sit on her card, and that kind of brings a little more of that green to the front. So banner. I cut this out with an All in Create banner die. I really, really like this. And I know most people will do a banner like this. I'm actually going to flip it upside down because, well, because that's what I want to do. And then I decided that I want to kind of layer my pieces. And when I looked at this, I thought, oh, that really aligns really cool. So I want this, that needs to actually go up just a smidge, because I want this to kind of come towards the bottom in the center and that overlap that. And then I'm going to put my girl here. And I really kind of like that again with the vines playing into this silhouette florals over here, but with this little touch of elegance, I guess is what that is. So what I want to do is get this positioned where I want it. And then I'm going to have my cinnamon right here, kind of overlay where that is, overlay, whatever, you know, and it's going to come across her as well, layered, whatever. But I want to make sure that this covers kind of this line and puts a stop to this. So this is, it's not, the floral's not like poking out of the bottom. But I like where that floral is right up to kind of this line here. So let me get some glue. Hold that. And get this bottom piece on, bottom of the floral, I should say. It's not two pieces, just this bottom of the floral. Let me get that situated. I thought about doing some paste over this, but because that's a lot of my go-to. I love to do paste. But I decided I didn't want to distract from the kind of cool elements that are part of this fun banner. And then I'm just going in and doing what I do and just dotting a few, leaving others. Yeah, I kind of want to keep that. We'll see about that. Maybe I need to do just a little bit on the back. Ooh, is not wanting to. Clean. All right, and then I need this to be centered. And come out here. I thought that it added a little touch of, I don't know, elegance maybe to this seemingly, um, I don't know, kind of maybe it could be a foliage card. But I love creating like this. This is what I love the most about card making, journaling, mixed media. I love to just come in and layer, see what I've got in my stash, see what I can pull from, determine like what what is it that my brain is going to do? What is it that my creativity, how is that going to take me? Where is it going to take me? And I love it. It's what makes crafting exciting for me. And she is going to go here. Now I'm not going to pop her up. I thought about it. But because I have my cinnamon, I think that is what needs to be popped up. And we've got another little element that I am pretty sure that I want to use. And what is she holding? Like some kind of box, trinket box? I don't know. All right, let's get our scissors out. And this is not a, like, it's kind of a wonky shape, right? So it's not like I need to cut completely a straight line. I just need to kind of follow that curvature. And I have a bunch of doilies. I really like doilies. One, I like doilies just personally. It's part of my grandma chicness, as people like to tell me. I love a good doily, but I do not, yeah, and see our sentiment is going to come there. But I do not like, um, I don't know. I love doilies. Let's just leave it at that. I love doilies. So let's go ahead and put some dots on here. And this sentiment is from All in Create. And it says, if someone asks, are you crazy? Simply reply yes. Boom. End of discussion. I love these fun, kind of snarky-esque, I don't know, sentiments. They crack me up. I really enjoy them. But what a fun way to just kind of come in, play, use those shimmery backgrounds, make some a little mixed media. It doesn't have to be complex. We know this. And I could use a strip. Yes, I know. Probably better if I would have used a strip of adhesive, but we know I'm trying to get rid of these. And just because this is empty, I use all that too. You can cut down those pieces and use them. I really try to use every bit of my products that I have on hand. So before I go in and start buying more stuff, I'd rather spend my money on on fun stuff like new dies and stamps and stuff like that over, I don't know, over what, some adhesive cardstock. I mean, I do love to buy me some cardstock too, but you know what I mean. Like when you want to, when you think about watching in crafters and you watch other makers and people from design teams, you know, they are influencing you. You get to see how they use products, and it not only inspires you, but of course, you know, it encourages you. That's the purpose of it. It encourages you to buy product, um, which there's some great, wonderful, crafty companies out there that have some remarkable designs that like really speak to me. Like All in Create, I love the quirkiness and fun of their designs. But at the same time, I also love Altenew and all of their florals, and I love Pink Fresh and their florals, and just especially their like plates. Ooh, their plates are good. I really love me some Pink Fresh. And Pixie Dust Design has some cute animal critters, but then they also have some fun interactive stuff as well. So I'm just coming across that line to put my sentiment. And I'm not even worrying if it's completely straight or not, because it can be wonky. I ain't gonna be mad at it. You're not gonna be mad. And then I have this other piece, right? I have this other fun bow. And this is kind of what I was thinking about, maybe putting more in like kind of her hand, but I don't think that that's going to work. So I'm wondering if I can put it, and I really wanted to incorporate it as another element. And I just need to figure, ooh, I kind of like that in the center of that. Yep, it kind of highlights that a little bit. And I like that it kind of blends so it's not like as in your face. So I've got some collage medium. Colden Jasper says hi. Hi, Colden. Come say hi. So I have some collage medium, and it should hold this down based on, you know, what it says it's made for. Ooh, he's mad. And that's going to take a little bit to dry. So we're going to make sure that that sets overnight. But that is our other card panel. So I can just put this onto a card base, and then I've got, you know, a fun card here. And I don't know if you can see, I hope that you can still see the shimmer. I know she is shining a whole bunch. I'm going to hold that. But you can still see all of that shimmer powder in the background. It is subtle, but it is there. I really like the way that that turned out. And I'm going to go ahead and put all the rest of them together, put these on card bases. And then when I come back, I'm going to show you the final card projects that I have created with all of these additional shimmer powder backgrounds that we created in the other video. So if you did not watch that video, make sure that you watch that. All right, we are back, and I have finished the cards using all of those, well, most of those backgrounds. I've actually got a couple left that I didn't do anything with yet, but trust that I will. So here is the one that we kind of first started with, and I still just love that. And you can see from the side, hopefully, where all of this is kind of layered in there. And with it layered, you can then kind of see the extra dimension. We then have this one that had the doily, and I used the collage medium to hold down this little pink colored bow that's metal. And we used some crayon, some distress crayons to color in the paper doll. And then I actually went back, and once I put this onto this dual kind of colored base, I went ahead and actually added more, and you can see I even popped some in behind there. So I popped this up using some foam adhesive, added in the additional elements, and I really, really like that too. I think that turned out great. We had one of the kind of watercolory ones, and it had some little blobbies, but I really liked those and didn't really want to cover them up. But, you know, just because something is a, I don't know, water theme, and we have a sea kind of, you know, creature thing going on, doesn't mean that your sentiment has to match that. So I like that. And it can just be a nice, wonderful everyday card, especially if you're giving this to someone that, you know, maybe really enjoys the sea. I then took this one that I had used a die that was a banner die, very similar to this, just larger. It was a different piece out of this set. It was a larger piece, and it is quite large, so I cut it down. And here you can see an additional element of that. And then I pulled from my stash this fun kind of, I don't know, floral deal. I went ahead and put this fun little sentiment on there. This is my alone time is sometimes for your safety. And my spouse could probably agree to that when I need my alone time. And then I did some additional shimmer, real subtle though, in the background using some perfect pearls, and then a white gel marker just to add a few highlights and scribblies. So that's how we did that one. I used an edge kind of die to cut this out of our shimmer paper. And then what I did was I just used some Simon Hurley solar sprays, and I added that additionally. Now, when you turn this over, I kind of just took the whole thing, laid it out, and sprayed it in my splat box. I don't care. Who cares? That's an added little fun element there. So a nice thinking of you card. And then I did a landscape. This landscape card, this is the piece that I die cut out of the shimmer cardstock that we did. So it still has that subtle shimmer. And then I pulled a cluster that I already had that I thought worked really well with this. I did mount this piece onto a dark purple cardstock that kind of would pull in a lot of this, but also pulled in the purple from our shimmer. So I really liked that. And then I just added some additional little drops. And then I finished up with this. So I just started die cutting out of my scrap pieces a bunch of butterflies, and even the green backing pieces here, I just decided to layer them, whether they went or not. But that is also out of a piece of the shimmer paper that we actually used to sop up something that was down on the glass surface. So I still used that. And then I thought that this turned out really pretty. I just did some heat embossing of this stamp, and it's in a blush pearl. Not quite sure if you can, if it's catching the light or not, but it gives a nice little sheen to that. And then we still have the shimmer and all of the color with our fun butterflies going up the side of the card. And then that's it. I mean, really simple, but to have these elements already die cut and on hand just from all of the backgrounds that we did makes things so simple. So a couple other things that I have now. I'm going to put these aside. So I also die cut, of course, these sentiments. Who says you can't do sentiments, right? So I die cut those. But I also die cut some Easter eggs. And look how fun those are. Those just look like some dyed Easter eggs. This Easter egg set actually cuts out the backing layer as well, so you can overlay it. And I had just had a bunch of leftover paste out of a, I don't know, some kind of paste in jar, and I needed to use it before it was going to dry up. So I just slathered it all onto a piece of white cardstock and then started die cutting a whole bunch of things out of it. You know, waste not, waste not. Can't say it enough. And then when I put that over our shimmer piece over, you get the glitter behind it, but it's not too overpowering with our shimmer piece. So that's also a really fun idea that you could do. And I kind of did a couple of different ones. Additionally, I have all of these fun layers and kind of floral pieces. So I took the funky cactus set, and we had a piece that was green with some browns in it, and I just positioned and layered. I can also ink over these if I want. For example, this little piece right here, this little flower, was all cut out of this same stem cardstock. What I did though was I just took some ink that was a purple, and yes, I know some of it kind of looks dark because of, you know, that being green, but you can still get the purple elements, and I really like that as well. So you don't even have to put them together all at the same time. These bits right here are all out of kind of some of the same sets. These are for these cactus as well. But who says that I have to use them that way? If I need something just to tuck, I could just take this piece or that piece or that piece, and I can use it and just tuck it and add it into any kind of card layer if I wanted to. So, you know, you just because it's a set and it's a layering for some kind of floral doesn't mean that you have to layer the floral. You can keep it separate and then use those. And then from our Easter eggs, I actually kept some of these because how kind of cool is that? And had I had this, which I guess I could go back and still do, but I could technically cut like a little piece if I wanted to, and maybe not of that one, but maybe of something like that to add to like her collar if I wanted to do that. So, you know, keeping little pieces like that can just add to any card that you may have. And then I have some additional like leaves. This is from a Spellbinders layering buttercup set, I believe is what it is. I clearly cut a whole bunch out of that. And then you're supposed to layer the buttercups, but I could technically clip those off if I wanted to, or put a whole nother flower over that if I wanted. So those are some ideas that we have. And then I'm not going to get rid of my scraps because some of those butterflies and pieces I can still use out of some of that. Or like this, I thought this would be a really fun layer for doing some clustering. So when you're clustering, you know, we want to kind of bring in sometimes tickets or other little elements to add, you know, fun interest, then you can. I mean, that's not maybe the best clustering example of that, but I keep stuff like that. So I don't get rid of any of the scraps until I really kind of look at something and go, yeah, I don't know if I ever would use that. Would I use that? Would I not use that? And if I have it for a while and I don't use it, then I mean, it's just bye-bye, goes in the trash. We don't need it. So I don't keep things that I'm not going to use, but I definitely will look at something and like I love this tone here, so I may find another little floral element to cut out of that. So I hope this gave you some fun ideas and examples of how to use these fun shimmer backgrounds that we did in that other video. I will link to that video in case you missed it and you want to go back and you want to watch it. But I mean, they're so much fun. They add some great interest and, just, I don't know, fun element to the back of your card or even front pieces of your card, like we did with this fun one here where these butterflies are all the shimmer pieces. So get creative, think outside of the box and outside of what people tell you that you can do, and you just make your own way. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you're inspired, and I look forward to having you back and joining me next time. Take care. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more crafty fun to be had in the future. Thanks so much, and take care. Bye bye.
Thank you for supporting me by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this video.